Bardella. Gentlemen, good to see you. Scott, and we saw that, right? 27% of Americans identify as Republican, 58% want to use the military, more than two-thirds want to deport people who are already here. That surprised me. What has the border become a proxy for?
It's basically become a proxy for everything from economic issues. That's what we hear when we look at the results in Texas and Arizona and California. It becomes a proxy for social issues. That's what you look at when you see the people, the mayors of New York and Chicago. And it has become a partisan issue. By and large, Democrats promote what they call comprehensive immigration reform, and Republicans want something more concrete, whether it be a wall or troops on the border.
Like, we think about what the deal right now on Capitol Hill is. That, look, the big four, everybody was at the White House for negotiations here. Okay, so the deal basically $61 billion for Ukraine, $14.2 billion for Israel, $14 billion for border security, $1.2 billion to combat fentanyl, all things that people want, and to end parole. Mm-hmm. And what I can't figure out, Kurt, is that it seems kind of obvious, right? If you want people to stop coming across, you've got to stop letting people out into the United States. All the more, 1,000 more Border Patrol agents doesn't do any good if you're just going to catch people and release them. Mm-hmm. How did we get, forget deporting everybody, how did we get that letting everybody into the United States is so sacred among progressives?
Well, I think that progressives are a victim of their own left flank, kind of promoting this idea that, well, we should welcome everybody in the world, right? We are all a nation of immigrants. You hear that catchphrase a lot, I think, from the left. They are horribly out of step where I think most Americans are right now on this, especially when we're seeing now in cities like New York. It used to be, well, it's a border issue. It only affects people on the border. The rest of the United States doesn't really care because they're not on the border. But now that we're seeing migrants get bussed over to Chicago, to New York, to cities, to metropolitans, they're like, wait a second. This isn't working for us. This is a problem. We do not like this. And the more that keeps happening, the more we're seeing Democrats just not adapt to the reality that people are seeing every day in their backyards. It's not just like in California where we're from here. They are now seeing it in their streets. They're seeing it in their workplaces. They're seeing it in their hospitals. They're seeing it in their schools. Democrats need to wake up here because this is an issue that could cost them dearly in November if they don't adapt.
All right. Congressman Pete Aguilar, Democrat, on this. Take a listen.
We're not going to fix this by building walls. We're going to fix this through broader use of technology, manpower, immigration, judges, humanitarian assistance, aid to local communities who are dealing with the frontline impacts. Unfortunately, as you've heard recently, Speaker Johnson doesn't believe in anything comprehensive when it comes to the border immigration.
Look, politicians are known to spin, but that's just disingenuous because you can have all the Border Patrol agents you want, Scott, and if you don't say once we catch people we're going to deport them, we're just going to release them, it doesn't matter. This is the question. Are swing voters buying the concept that Republicans are holding up immigration reform?
So it depends on how it's framed. I think by and large, swing voters want a solution. Republicans want to be specific about either, military in the border walls, whatever it is. Swing voters just want to stop talking about this, which is why I think it's interesting. You look at what Mitch McConnell's been saying to the conference. You look at what the Democrats want. Speaker Johnson obviously is against it. By and large, swing voters don't want to talk about this issue anymore, which is why it's their number one issue. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the polling, the NewsNation.
They want it fixed, and it seems kind of obvious how to fix it. Kurt, though, I'm wondering about the White House here. This is an election year. It seems really obvious and very easy to say we're getting hundreds of billions of dollars in spending that we want in return for this very sort of minor thing of saying no more to parole. What is the White House's calculation? Like, what are they afraid of if they do that?
I think that they're afraid of losing their left flank even more. Listen, they've alienated the left right now on their Middle East policy. We're seeing an outright revolt from the likes of people like Bernie Sanders, tanking resolutions about Israel. They have the issue of Ukraine. They're having these issues with their left. There's only so many places they can afford to alienate the base that they are going to need in November. Because I'll tell you, if the Democratic Party base continues this line of, well, we're not really enthusiastic about Joe Biden, say what you want about Donald Trump. His voters are enthusiastic about Donald Trump. They are excited to vote for him. They will show up for him. Biden doesn't have that luxury right now.
Yeah, the line we saw and I heard in Iowa was, they'll walk over glass for Donald Trump. His voters will. They will walk through a frozen tundra That's what we figured out in Iowa.
One thing, we've been talking about immigration since Kurt and I were Republican staffers, right? That's how long we've been talking about it. And this is a huge campaign issue. It's interesting to me that the Republicans are saying, hey, this is not the time, whereas the Democrats want to. That tells you kind of where the enthusiasm is, and it lines up with the polling.
It's what Corey Lewandowski said in the last break. Gentlemen, good to see you. Thank you very much. As always, we appreciate it.